Sorry, Julian Sanders, Solicitor for Monmouthshire Council.
I'm Richard Williams from Democratic Services, Monmouthshire County Council.
To my left now.
I'm Councillor Jackie Strong from County Cockcross. Thank you.
Hi, I'm the Principal Licensing Officer for Monmouthshire Council.
Good morning, Taylor Watts, Licensing Officer for Monmouthshire County Council.
Okay, thanks for that. We've got a slight echo. Can we go to on screen now to Councillor Dale Rook?
Good morning. I'm Councillor Dale Rook from representing Chepstow Castle and Larkfield wards.
Okay, thanks for that. If you go to two police officers.
PC 2138, Luke Taken.
Good morning, everyone. PC Williams, Licensing Officer for Gwent Police.
Good morning, Mohammed Mustaqim.
Good morning, Michelle Frost.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, in terms of procedure, and you know, particularly for the applicants, please don't be overfaced this morning by being in this chamber in County Hall. I will chair the meeting, and obviously I will sort of give permission for people to come in, and I will control the meeting fairly rigorously. And obviously we can't have a situation where people are talking across each other, but we are a relatively small meeting today. In terms of use of the mic, you've got to press the green button whilst you speak, and once you do that, it goes live stream, and obviously we can hear you, but importantly Councillor Rook online can hear you, and if you don't use the mic, then he will not hear what you say. But when you finish speaking, if you can, then please remember to press the button again so it goes off. If at any time there are issues that you're unclear about, then obviously feel free to sort of motion to me and ask permission to come in. Okay, we'll now go to the agenda, and we go to agenda item number 1, apologies for absence.
No apologies received, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Second, any declarations of interest? None online? Okay, thank you. Now then, we're going to look at agenda item 3. There are two applications. I know it's the same. Obviously, the applicants are here putting in the two applications, but we will treat them separately. So we'll go to the first one, which is an application to vary a premises licence for the sale of alcohol at Welsh Street stores in Chepstow. And we have the two representatives here on my right, and you will be entitled to address the meeting, to give your point of view, and also, to submit questions, etc., as we go through. Normally, the regulations allow 10 minutes for you to actually put forward your case for the variation of the time. But if it goes slightly over that, I'm not going to, stop you. Obviously, I can't give 20 minutes or whatever, but if you go a couple of minutes over, then that would be allowed. Normally, it's 10, so that we've got equality for all parties. But this is a guidance time, and the chair, obviously, I must ensure that there's sufficient time to give a fair hearing, and that is the whole point of holding this hearing today. It's not a decision taken by the licensing officers. It is a decision taken by this committee, and obviously the committee will be advised by Julian Sanders here, who is one of our county solicitors, and obviously is a legal representative for the authority. Can I just ask the licence officer, are you going to go first, or do the applicants give their...
If I do a quick overview, Chair, sorry, of the procedure, like you've just done really, but I'll just say a few extra sort of points just to make it clear how the hearing will pan out today, and also the legal sort of side of both representation of the application as well. And then I'll pass it over to the licensing officer, Taylor Watts, who will then read the report, do an overview of the report itself, and then it'll be up to the applicants and responsible persons to give their views and be questioned on those views as well. Okay.
Okay, well, do you want to start with
yes, please. Thank you, Chair.
The overview?
Just to clarify, we have Mohammed Ismail today and Michelle Frost. And you are representing the actual applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Patel, who's made the application for the first one we're dealing with today, which is Welsh Street Stores. Could you sort of say your role, really, you know, how you're representing, so that all parties know? Are you directly involved, basically, with the premises itself?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, directly. I'm the day-to-day run the business.
Okay.
Michelle is my manager. She also...
Lovely, thank you. You have a right to legal representation. Are you happy to continue today without that legal representation for the applicant?
Yes,
and you've been given authority from the applicant to actually be the representative today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just to put those facts up as well, like I said, the chair has mentioned about the 10-minute rule. There is regulations regarding hearings of Licensing Act, but in the interest of fairness, you may go over 10 minutes if you need to respond better to it. So you've been given a copy of the report prior to today, and also the copy of the hearing procedure. What will happen is that you, as the applicant, will follow in sort of the overview of the report. You, as the applicant, will give your views, which can be questioned by all parties here present today. Then it will go to the responsible authorities, which are the police. They are the responsible authorities, and similarly, they can be questions on their views. And then you've got, on this particular application, you've got other persons. There is a submission from another person, basically somebody who's objecting to your application other than responsible authorities. They are not present today, but obviously their submissions will be read out, and similarly those can be questioned as well. So I just wanted to give you the facts of that case, and then you'll have the summing up towards the end. But one point of note that I want everybody to be made aware of, that the hearing that we have today is only based on the variation. We cannot take anything away that you've currently got for that store. All right, so let's be mindful of that when we go through any sort of queries that you may have. So I'll pass you over to the licensing officer then, Taylor Watts, to give an overview of the report.
Thank you. The purpose of the report is for members to consider an application to vary the premises licence for Welsh Street Stores, 21 Welsh Street, Chepstow, Monmouthshire. Mr and Mrs Patel applied to the Licensing Authority on the 4th of November 2024 to vary the premises licence to sell alcohol from their current licence hours of 6 AM to midnight to between 6 AM and 3 AM, with the opening hours being the same. The applicant advised in the application the steps they would take to promote the licensing objectives. These included measures in place to monitor public nuisances and antisocial behaviour by adding extra staff when and where required, refusal to sell alcohol to persons already intoxicated, signage to remind customers to be mindful of neighbours, and promotion of the Challenge 25 scheme. The full list of the steps the applicant advised on the application can be viewed as Appendix A, and the current premises licence can be viewed as Appendix A2. Also attached to the report is Appendix B, which shows the location of the premises within Chepstow. It is important to note that the premises licence, if granted, will also be subject to mandatory conditions. These are already attached to the premises licence, but can be viewed as Appendix C. The application was referred to the responsible authorities for comments along with a public consultation, which would end on the 2nd of December 2024. During that time, a notice was displayed on the premises advising where a full application can be viewed and how to make a representation. The notice was also circulated in a local newspaper. The only representation received from a responsible authority was from Gwent Police. Gwent Police objected under 3 of the 4 licensing objectives and stated the measures the applicant detailed in the operating schedule were not deemed adequate enough to promote the licensing objectives. The full list of the representations issued by Gwent Police can be viewed as Appendix D, and in addition, crime statistics in relation to the ward for Chepstow, Wells Street can be viewed as Appendix D2, which was a late submission. During the consultation period, the licensing authority received 1 representation from another person. The full representation from the other person can be viewed as Appendix E, but to summarise their concerns, the other person advised alcohol will only be sold to people who are already intoxicated nearby, and from people leaving nearby premises, so pubs and clubs that are open to similar hours. In addition, noise pollution will increase in the area due to loitering around that premises. Following the representations made by Gwent Police and the other person, a meeting was held with Gwent Police and the applicant's representatives on the 27th of November 2024 to discuss the application and the concerns Gwent Police have raised. Following the meeting, the applicant advised the licensing authority they wish to make the following amendments to the application. Bring forward the closing time to 2:30 a.m, 2 members of staff at the premises with 1 SIA trained. They will supply cable-tied woven bags to encourage alcohol to be consumed at home, and ID verification with no sales made to persons who appear intoxicated. The amendments were then sent to Gwent Police and the other person, where the licensed authority requests whether they wish for their representations to remain in light of the changes by the applicant. Both Gwent Police and the other person advised they wish for their representations to remain. The applicant did wish for the amendments to remain regardless of the rejection by both Gwent Police and the other person, so the application is therefore being amended to 2:30 a.m. Representations must be made under at least 1 of the 4 licensing objectives, which are prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance and protection of children from harm. As a relevant representation has been received in the Licensing Act, the Section 182 guidance advises the application must now be considered by a licensing and regulatory subcommittee hearing. Further to this, Section 13.10 of the Section 182 guidance states it is important the licensing authority gives a comprehensive reason for its decision in anticipation of any appeals, and failure to do so may give itself rise to an appeal. Further guidance on the licensing objectives and Section 182 guidance can be viewed as Appendix G. In regard to Monmouthshire County Council's Licensing Act policy, guidance is provided within it to applicants on the licensing objectives, and in the report, extracts of what is expected from an applicant can be viewed under the relevant licensing objective. Thank you.
Right, excuse me, Chair, before we continue, we're getting some interference. Can I just check if everyone with a laptop has got their speakers muted?
Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Williams. For some reason, we've got a little bit of background coming in. We'll see how we proceed. Thanks, Mr. Watts, now for that report. And now we'll go to the responsible authorities. The only responses that we've had are from Gwent Police, and obviously the 2 officers are here now to put forward their report. Thanks.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, councillors. So the report from ourselves is Gwent Police have met with the 2 representatives of the applicants, Mr. Patel and Mrs. Patel, for a mediation meeting on the 27th of November. In attendance was myself, PC 689 Williams, and my colleague, PC 2138 Dakin, and the 2 representatives of the applicants who were present today. Several concerns were raised by Gwent Police in response to the applicants' proposals. Following this meeting, the applicants then proposed a 2:30 a.m. End of sales at the Wells Street store, 1 trained SIA staff or 2 members of staff inside the premises working. The applicant also suggested an anti-rip bag to help prevent any purchased alcohol, obviously being utilised outside. Although this was inquisitive, it will ultimately not prevent persons opening the bags in the public space and then consuming. The alcohol would have then been sold at the premises, and the premises directly contributing to potential antisocial behaviour / criminality. This would not alleviate the concerns raised by Gwent Police over the prevention of crime and disorder, prevention of public nuisance and public safety due to the potential for intoxicated vulnerable persons purchasing alcohol at that time of the morning. Gwent Police have the belief that any purchases would be made for immediate consumption, otherwise customers would wait until the daytime to purchase the alcohol. The applicant's motivation for increasing the hours are financial, which was confirmed during the mediation meeting, and also in the follow-up letter after the meeting took place, which I believe is also in one of the appendix. The applicants have confirmed that footfall is not purely based on alcohol sales, however, have argued by virtue of them selling alcohol that they would have increased sales into the extended hours. The applicant raised that this was possible to purchase items all in one transaction, and this was possible in 2 other premises in Chepstow that can ultimately allow this. Tesco, which had a 24-hour licence, but of which is confirmed as not being utilised. And another premises mentioned by the applicant, which can also serve alcohol, was a petrol garage Esso petrol station, which is on Newport Road, Chepstow, which is a main trunk road. There are residents in the near vicinity, although not located right next door, and the garage is located on the outskirts of Chepstow and nowhere near the town centre to which the applicant's premises is located. Persons would have to walk a fair distance from the town centre and almost leave Chepstow itself to purchase the alcohol from that specific store. Therefore, this premises would not contribute to the concerns or problems raised in the objection for the current premises. The majority of the customers attending the petrol station would be via a motor vehicle. The garage is also not located in a secluded centre surrounded by buildings or residents and is more of an open space. The applicant has suggested potentially supplying more staff, which would not support sufficiently the licensing objectives of prevention of crime and disorder, public safety or public nuisance at that time of night suggested, where crime and disorder and drunkenness is a significant problem. The premises is in close proximity to the late night pubs and clubs, which is an issue of concern and will support concerns from Gwent Police of the premises contributing to drunkenness of members of the public and also drinking of alcohol in the public space, ultimately leading to antisocial behaviour and increasing crime and disorder and public nuisance to local residents in the vicinity. This is due to the customer base who would want to attend between the hours of midnight to 3 AM on a weekend. The public at this time of night is predominantly persons who are attending pubs or bars in the town, and majority who are already intoxicated. This would undermine the licensing objectives of prevention of crime and disorder, public safety and also public nuisance. Gwent Police would have first-hand experience in who attends the town on weekend evenings due to the nature of our role and due to dealing with a number of crimes that take place in the late night and early hours of weekends. This would undermine the licensing prevention of crime and disorder, public safety and also public nuisance. Chepstow is a small built-up town with a high number of residents living in the vicinity. The majority of the population in the area are of 55 years and over. This is based on the Office for National Statistics for the area, breaking down age range from survey results. The extension of alcohol sales hours could lead to issues of public nuisance to the elderly residents who reside in the area. The off-licence is directly opposite a premises which houses vulnerable persons. They are vulnerable for a number of reasons. Access to off-sales of alcohol at the time applied for could contribute to an increase of crimes taking place at or outside the premises that houses the vulnerable persons, and could lead to an increasing the vulnerability to the persons and thus becoming more susceptible to being a victim or offender of crime. It is not uncommon for the vulnerable persons being housed to be suffering from addiction issues by way of alcohol or drugs. There is a major concern that the ongoing later hours of sale of alcohol could lead to vulnerable persons having access to alcohol at the early hours. The premises is also directly opposite a pub that is open until 2 in the morning. Antisocial behaviour is an issue in the vicinity already and has led to noise complaints previously. Licensing officers, myself and my colleague, have also attended in the last few months where we were subject and witness and involved in sorting out a violent attack in the area at 2 AM in the morning. Statistics also show that Wells Street, Chepstow has the majority of calls of crimes, violent and non-violent, and antisocial behaviour, including drunk and disorderly calls. In the last year, 2024, Gwent Police statistics of crime reported for the area confirmed that the highest calls received were of violence without injury of 95 calls, public order 60, violence with injury 51, criminal damage 39 and drug offences 9. Considering alcohol raises violent crimes by at least 49%, this demonstrates the concerns by Gwent Police of the extension of the trading hours to supply the alcohol. Wells Street had the highest recorded stats of crime and antisocial behaviour in Chepstow throughout 2024, discounting reports of thefts from stores, which is unfortunately a common occurrence UK-wide. And if you'd like to see the stats, they are the late submission in the appendix. A concern is the customers the premises is looking to target in the extra hours from midnight onwards. Drunk persons or persons already under the influence of alcohol will be in the vicinity on a weekend. There would be a concern of increased risk of selling alcohol to already intoxicated persons. The premises is an off-licence only. Certain conditions which would be heavily expected on bars or clubs to open on their licence past midnight, such as door staff for public safety and to prevent crime and disorder taking place at the premises. This would also have to be applied to another premises looking to operate within those hours. St Mary's Ward had 476 crimes in the last year. A nearby late night premises had more than double the reported crimes than the nearest premises. The crimes are not all related to the premises itself, but rather in the street where the applicant's premises is based. This shows a significant problem in the vicinity of the applicant's premises with crime and disorder and public safety. Although not directly attributed to the applicant's premises with later closing hours on the busiest period for the nighttime premises, Gwent Police are concerned that the extension of the hours to supply the alcohol will contribute to even more crimes taking place in the area, as the potential customers at that time of night would be the persons making use of those nighttime premises and those persons involved in the crimes taking place. When deciding to grant the licence, the committee would have to consider the implications for Chepstow Town Centre and the wider implications. This would include knock-on effects as highlighted to businesses and also residents, and also that Chepstow is in fact a small town rather than a city centre. Also taking into account fairness for other local businesses and competitors. Granting the requested variation of 230 for the sale of alcohol would potentially open the door for further late night premises. This would then put Chepstow as a small town with a town centre in line with larger cities such as nearby Newport, of which has a 3 AM alcohol licence, taking into account that all premises on the Newport city centre and surrounding areas are heavily conditioned, and also where recently Newport Council have reimposed a stress area on the city centre to help control the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives and closing hours of the premises. There is an existing public space protection order to specifically tackle street drinking also in place in Newport due to the hours, something of which Chepstow does not currently have, but Gwent Police have major concerns that the granting of the requested variation would more than likely lead to something similar happening in Chepstow Town Centre. That is our answer. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Obviously a very comprehensive report. In terms of other persons, I'm not aware of anybody who's said that they want to attend today to put forward their case other than Gwent Police.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify, the other person could not attend the meeting today. They wish for their representation to be heard, which is included in the report for members to consider.
Right. Okay. So we'll go now then. There is no one actually attending, but in terms of admissible written representations, there is one representation, obviously from a person living in that vicinity, and that is part of the reports pack. And can I just check that councillors, yes, Jackie Strong and Dale Rook have read it. Obviously, I've read it, and just, you know, I don't intend to read it out, but the gist of it, the main points of that report, of that objection given by a resident, follows very much the concerns that the police have in terms of antisocial behaviour. People are already consumed alcohol, that they will consume more, and that there might be violence and noise disturbance. And the person who's written this puts it in the very strongest terms that they do not wish this variation, to go ahead. But it is in the report. The committee members have read it; they're fully aware of it. So I don't intend, to read it out. We'll move now then to the applicants who've obviously put in this application for the variation, and we are dealing purely with that variation. We're not dealing with any other licensing issues for those premises. So I'm going to hand over to the representatives now for you to address the panel and to give any evidence that you have. And once you've done that, then I will invite questions from the responsible authorities, that is Heatherley, Gwent Police, and obviously from the three members of the committee. I want to make it clear as well to the two committee members, one online and one in the chamber. Obviously, any questions or concerns that we have, and for the police, you must ask once the applicants have spoken, because at the end of that, and at the end of the questions, then there will be some closing statements, but then we'll stop, and obviously licensing will leave, the police will leave, and the applicants will leave, and we as a committee then will consider.
Actually, Chair, because we're live streaming, you and the members will leave. We'll go to a room and you can discuss your deliberation. Right.
Okay, thanks. So we'll actually leave the room, so it won't be in the public domain. Obviously, the rest of the meeting, as now, is being live streamed. But once we come to the end of this formal part of the application, we will retire then and go and discuss. So I hand over to the applicants now, and as I say, don't be overfaced this morning. It is quite an official place here in the chamber in County Hall as members. Yeah, we're fairly familiar with it, but obviously I know that you are not. But please don't be overfaced. This is your opportunity now to put your point of view for the application for the variation and to give any evidence. And if you're unclear about anything, then just stop and ask. So I hand over to you two now. Thanks.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, the reason we apply for these variations, we opened the shop, the business past 5 years, is that the business trading is going down and down and down, and a lot of shops are closing down, and we're really struggling at the moment to run the business. So our our rent review gone up, but the inflations, the landlord increased the rent. So even day to day, running the shops, very can't afford to run the business because it's turnovers is not good enough. That's the reason. So we thought, we just try to increase the sales, just get a little bit extra hours for the off license, and then we increase the sales. Past couple of years, even on a lot of shop on the market, on the even Chepstow, even they opened last years, my next door neighbor called Chicken Hub, they opened 6 months ago. They're already on the market. Now another one called Lime Tree, they get rid of all the stuff, they are open last year. Town centers are really struggling, sir. So that's the reasons, we have to survive in the business. We have to increase our sales. Only reasons, on the only sales we got it at the moment on the town, only weekdays is very quiet, even I used to, I'm not on the shop all the time. Now I have to work myself to even just maintain say day-to-day expense, so very struggling at the moment. So that's the reason I thought we just a little bit increase sales, that's why we try to apply the license. Thanks, sir.
Is there anything else? Yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to address that. Obviously, it was concern, but the premises are already open on a Friday and Saturday night until 3 a.m. and I know the police were concerned about us having a knock-on effect, or like customers getting grouchy because we wouldn't be able to serve them if we brought the time forward to 2:30, that we might have customers kicking off because we're saying, no, you can't have any alcohol, but we're already doing that from 12 at the moment anyway. And like I said, the shop's already open. We're not aiming to make people more intoxicated. We are not wanting more we live here as well. We love Chepstow, we live here, and we want to work with everyone to try and make it work as best we can. We already have a strong policy of not serving anyone, especially we're always checking for age. We have a strong policy not to sell to anyone that's already intoxicated. We're not trying to encourage more footfall or like people staying out later in the town or, you know, whatever. We're just trying to get passing trade that's already there. And like we said about the bags, so we're hoping, yes, it wouldn't deter everyone from opening them before they got home, we understand that, but it would deter some. And we're missing trade because we can't sell that. They go to somewhere where they can buy their whole shop in one go. Like, so we're losing money on other products, not just, you know, a bottle of wine, because they come in and they get a bottle of wine. They'll also get other goods as well, which is what's going to make the difference. Yeah, I don't know what anything else I can think of. Yeah, it's just trying to like help us cover our costs, because as you know, everything's through the roof. Wages obviously are constant going up, rents constantly going up, utilities really increased, and stock and everything as well. It's, you know, we're just trying to help ourselves swim against it so we can stay afloat. And lots of other shops are closing within 12 months of opening. So we're just trying to help ourselves, but the last thing we want to do is have a negative impact on where we live as well. So we are mindful all of the time of like trying to keep the neighbours happy, like trying to keep noise to a minimum, not encouraging people to like stay out later, just have the footfall that's already there that we're missing.
Okay, thanks. I think main licensing officer would like to come in now.
I just want to clarify a point actually that you've mentioned. You said you're already open on Friday and Saturday. Did you say you're currently open on Friday and Saturday till 3 o'clock, did you say, in the morning? Assuming then you don't sell alcohol because your licence goes until Friday and Saturday, but you are open for them to consume other products within your store. That's what you're saying. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Thanks. And can I just clarify now? Are you sort of sticking with the being open until 2:30 for the sale of alcohol? Because the original application was until 3 a.m. But obviously you met with Gwent Police and they obviously expressed their concerns, and then there was a mention of 2:30. But just can we be clear? For this application, is it 2:30 or is it 3 a.m. in the morning for the sale of alcohol?
The officers, agreed to 2:30. That's why we go for the 2:30, sir.
Right. Okay. So you sort of varied that. So the application is to extend the sale of alcohol license from 12 until 2:30, and then you would stay open until 3, but not for the sale of alcohol. Okay, thanks. Any questions or issues from the two councillors? We've got obviously Councillor Rook online, we've got Councillor Jackie Strong here on the same table. Yeah.
I'm quite interested in the bags that were mentioned. Sorry, I've got there's lots of feedback somewhere. The bags that were mentioned, how effective are those, and have they been used in other areas? Do we know? And the other thing is that obviously the police officer present has mentioned sort of the issue of street drinking. Is that an issue in Chepstow? Is that an issue of that time of the morning? I'm trying to get a sense of these guys have got a business to run and they're sort of balancing that with public safety, and we've obviously got a duty to be mindful of the crime stats and all the evidence that you put in front of us and how we balance that together, really. So,
okay, can we go to the applicant first, and then in terms of the question that you raised about how effective are the bags with the cable ties to try and discourage people from buying alcohol and then drinking it outside or drinking it further along that street. Can we go to that first, please?
The bag is a non-woven bag. So what happened, with the tie, with the cable ties. So when I went to that on the London, so like a couple of years ago, I see in the shop they are selling. I asked the shopkeeper, they say they're selling like that because they had to be used a scissor to open it. If you rip it, it can't open it. So I ordered from Amazon. I saw the officers the other day. I saw to them, couldn't open with a hand. And you must need the scissor to open it with the tie, with the cable, with the bag. You can't open the normal hand, sir.
Okay, so what you're saying is you believe that the use of the non-woven bag with a plastic cable tie, you would have to take it home to use a knife or a scissors, which obviously you wouldn't be carrying in a public place. And so, you are clear in your own mind that would discourage people from buying alcohol in your premises after 12 o'clock and then drinking it outside because they couldn't actually access it. They would have to go home.
The majority, yes. Obviously, you're going to get a handful of people that are going to work their way around that, the same as anything. But the majority of people, we believe, it would deter them until they got home to drink it. And to be fair, a lot of the customers that are coming in, they do want to go home to drink it because they're either taxi for the night, so they haven't drunk all night. They've been working and they're finishing their shifts. They want to take a pack of beers or a bottle of wine and, other bits and pieces home with them. So the majority, hopefully, yes.
Okay, thanks. Can we go to Gwen, please?
Yeah, sure. So, upon the mediation meeting, obviously, both myself and my colleague present here, we were obviously, we did praise the applicants and their representatives for thinking outside the box with the bags. But ultimately, we've got to be realistic as the police as well. The bags won't be anti-rip. They might state that they are. My body armour says it's anti-slash, but it still slashes, ultimately. You can have a cable tie, but, I can get around that with a key. And the majority of people have a key on them that has some sort of serrated edge for the lock. So, if someone wants to access that drink, they'll just access it in the street. It's not going to make much difference to that person if they ultimately want to consume that. As for your other question, sorry, Councillor, so Wells Street in particular, they do have street drinking, and this is witnessed by myself and my colleague. Even when we just go up there, we can see numerous glasses, and officers are always stopping officers are always stop members of the public who have unfortunately managed to get alcohol out of late night premises as well and taking them off them. So we know this is taking place. And obviously this just leads to the other concerns that we've got. If there's a off-licence supplying alcohol and people are still looking to take the alcohol that they have in their hand into the street, it's just gonna cause more issues for the people who live in Chepstow, but ultimately it's going to lead to further crime and disorder and public safety issues.
Okay. Yeah, my solicitors just advised me now, obviously, in terms of the chain variation of the application to bring it to 12 until 2:30, the police obviously remain with objections to that. You would not be happy with that, although it's reduced by half an hour. You, from what I understand, just to clarify, you would still have concerns about drunken disorderly behaviour, etc., even if it was 2:30 as opposed to 3.
That is correct, yes. We had that conversation in the mediation meeting. Towards the end, we stipulated that even if that was put in the application after the fact, we still wouldn't be changing our argument or position.
I think then we need just clarification from the applicants that they do want they want to continue with the 2:30 and not the 3 a.m. application. Yes, sir. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah. I'll bring in Dale now. I've obviously heard from Councillor Jackie Strong, but bring in Councillor Rook, who obviously represents the ward in Chepstow, and so possibly is closer to this than myself and Councillor Strong. Dale.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just curious to know the numbers of customers that they're going to have around 3 o'clock in the morning, and whether the increase in staff, having an SIA registered member of staff, it would make it prohibitive. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Can we go to the applicant? You know, obviously the question is, will the increased costs of staff, particularly the trained staff, will that cover the cost of your, as you perceive, as you think, the increased trades?
We're hoping so, yes, because, like I said, we're not just dependent on the alcohol sales. It'll be other sales alongside that, like sandwiches, cigarettes, vapes. We think we will more than cover the outgoing costs for that, yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other issues? Can I just ask as Chair, and I don't live in your area, but obviously I live in Abergavenny, and people are obviously out much later than possibly I am. But what sort of type of customer would you have in, as now your licence finishes at 12 midnight? What sort of customer do you have coming in, not just to buy the normal sort of goods, as you say, cigarettes, vapes or whatever, but to buy alcohol? Are they younger? Are they older? Are they in groups? I'm just curious as to, you know, what type of customer you would attract at that sort of late hour of the night.
Usually it's like a mid-40s, early 40s. As in the Chepstow town, the youngsters not coming anymore on the Chepstow anymore. They are going like a cities like a Cardiff, you know, like a Bristol's. Mostly on the Chepstow night, like a working class people, you know, working Monday to Friday, you know, like, and after the work, they're coming for the pub and like they have a drink, meal. And mostly they take the alcohol. I ask them, you know, like if we sell alcohol, what do you do? You know, what kind of the drink, you know, they say like they're happy to take home because there's Saturday, Sunday, they go day off, they have the wine, you know, stay home like that. And it's still our mainly customers is like early 40s, you know. It's probably 10% of the, you know, like youngsters are like mid-20s, and most of them are like, you know, like more like people. Yeah. Thanks.
Yes. What you're saying is that generally they're older people who've been working, want to buy alcohol to take home at the end of their shift or end of their work time. Yes, sir. And obviously will buy other things. I'm going to bring in Linda again, Linda Gorman. Yeah, sorry for the interruption here. I've noticed, because you were saying about Friday and Saturday, with the intention to have SIA staff from, I'm assuming, 12 o'clock. I noticed there's an error actually on the report, which is 3.1, Chair, where it's actually stated in the application is for Monday to Sunday, 6 o'clock to 300 hours, but it's not the case. It is just purely for the Friday and Saturday. So there's an error on that report, just to be mindful of that. Yeah, we'll correct that. Okay. We'll note that. Thanks for that. We'll note that. Are there any other comments now from the applicants or from the responsible authorities before we adjourn, and we'll go to a separate room to obviously, you know, discuss the evidence that we've heard and to discuss the report and come to a decision?
Yeah, just one final comment. It's just again on the back of what was just discussed there. Ultimately, the concern that we've got, and from first-hand experience, is you've got a club in Chepstow Town Centre which has the latest shut-in hour of I think it's 3 o'clock or 3:30. Predominantly the ages going into that club and exiting that club on a Friday and Saturday are the younger crowd, and the premises that I have mentioned in my my spiel earlier is on Wells Street itself, the number of occasions that we've both witnessed the crowd, particularly the age ranges that are attending that premises, again on the weekend, again are of the younger generation. They're not middle-aged or older. They are youngsters that are going into these premises and making use of the late night premises on the Friday and Saturday. And ultimately, the other consideration that I think needs to be considered and taken away is not just the case that obviously the shop can do only so much, even if they had an SIA door staff, where they could look to reject the sale of alcohol to someone who's drunk, but then you've got concern of proxy sales as well. So if you've got a group of youngsters together, they'll send in the one that's less intoxicated to get access to the alcohol to be consumed. So obviously I didn't mention that earlier, but I'd also like that taken into consideration as well, please, Chair and councillors.
Right, thanks for that. Anything that the applicants wish to say now before we stop, or anybody else, but particularly the applicants, is there anything you want to add to support your application before we go into adjournment and we look at the application?
It's a surviving problem, sir, at the moment, be honest with you. You know, like, we don't doing good. The business-wise, we don't doing good at all, you know, like very, very struggling, be honest with you. Otherwise, I don't want to be like, you know, like open the shop, you know, like the early morning, I'd rather spend time with his families, you know, rather than, you know, if I couldn't sell this alcohol and other stuff, I have to, you know, like, I can't run the business, you know, so that's the only thing I can add, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Anything from licensing?
No, Chair, that's fine.
Grant Police, you've made your points. Again, just to be crystal clear, can we just confirm again that this application to extend the hours from 12 until 2:30 is purely Friday and Saturday nights?
Yes, it is, just Friday and Saturday, and we'd just like to say we have brought it forward because we obviously don't want to be creating a long, like people staying out later to come to our store, which is why we're happier to bring it forward that half an hour.
Okay, thanks. So the application is Friday and Saturday nights, extending the licensing hours of sale of alcohol off the premises from 12 until 2:30. And obviously Gwent Police remain unhappy with that from a point of view of drunken disorderly behaviour and noise, disruption, etc. Okay, if there are no further comments or thoughts, we will adjourn and we will obviously look at this application in detail and decide on what we've heard from both the applicant and obviously responsible authorities and obviously the one written objection. But we'll stop here in the formal meeting and the live stream will stop and we'll go into a separate room and we'll consider the evidence and then come back and report back to you.
Chair, just to confirm, the live stream will continue, so if everyone can make sure their microphones are off until we come back.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you can sit there, you can go if you rather, because you're
Dale, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, it's a bit... I'm not sure what's happening this morning. Okay. We'll reconvene now. The committee, obviously, with our solicitor with us as well, and Mr. Williams, who's recorded things. We've looked at the application. We've considered carefully the evidence that's been put forward today, both by the applicant and by Gwent Police as the responsible authority, and the written evidence of one applicant, of one person who lives in Chepstow who has objected. And I'm afraid, you know, we cannot grant the licence, and that was a unanimous decision, balancing in particular, you know, what Gwent Police said. But I'll hand over now to our county solicitor, Mr. Saunders, who's going to summarise now the discussion points and the evidence that we've used in terms of making that decision.
Thank you. My apologies. So it was a unanimous decision in respect of the application to amend or vary the hours on Friday and Saturday evenings and from 12 o'clock until 2:30 in the morning. The reasons for the decision are as follows. So there's been very strong arguments put forward by the police with supporting criminal statistics in respect of antisocial behaviour, criminality in Chepstow and specifically in Welsh Street. There's also supporting evidence that's been put forward by an objector who references an occasion of a person urinating in her doorstep. There is, in regards to the sealed bag which has been proposed, it's been explained by the police that sealed bag can be opened using a key, and therefore there's no guarantee the bag will not be opened following purchase and prior to that person going home. There are vulnerable people who live nearby and live near the shop. Those people may have addictions, and there's also a general concern of an increase in the nuisance to the residents of Chepstow. And the committee felt that it was unreasonable, therefore, to allow the application in light of the evidence put forward by the police and that objector. The committee were sympathetic towards your financial position that's been put forward today, but they balanced the position of the evidence put forward by the police, and they balanced that against your financial reasons for bringing the application, and the committee felt that the evidence put forward by the police has outweighed the financial reasons that you've been put forward. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Saunders, for that. We move on now then to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 4. Which is an application, and we have the same applicants, an application to vary a premises licence, and this is for the Chepstow store, and this is to vary the hours at 4 to 5 Beaufort Square, Chepstow. And obviously we've got a copy of the application is attached in Appendix A, and then a copy of the current premises licence is also attached. So we'll follow the same procedure as for agenda item number 3. And obviously the same applicants. And we'll go first now then to the licensing officers for their report. Thanks.
Yeah, just to clarify again for this one, which is regarding Chepstow store at 4 to 5 Beaufort Square, Chepstow, that you have authority to deal with the application today. And then you're happy to continue without any legal representation. As before, I won't go through the process of the hearing, but it still applies for this hearing. And I'll pass you over to the licensing officer now to present the report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is for members to consider an application to vary a premises licence for Chepstow Store, 45 Beaufort Square, Chepstow, Monmouthshire. Mr and Mrs Patel applied to the Licensing Authority on the 4th of November 2024 to vary the premise licence to sell alcohol from the current licensed hours of 6 AM till midnight, 7 days a week, to between the hours of 6 AM and 3 AM, with the opening hours remaining the same. There is an error on the report. This isn't Monday to Sunday, this is only for Friday and Saturday. So to clarify, it's Friday to Saturday, 6 AM till 3 AM the application was made for. The applicant advised in the application the steps they would take to promote the licensing objectives. These included measures in place to monitor public nuisances and antisocial behaviour by adding extra staff when and where required, refusal to sell alcohol to persons intoxicated, signage to remind customers to be respectful of neighbours, and the promotion of a Challenge 25 scheme. The full steps the applicant advised on the application can be viewed as Appendix A, and the current premises licence can be viewed as Appendix A2. Also attached to this report is Appendix B, which shows the location of the premises within Chepstow. As you can see, an Appendix C is mandatory conditions which are already attached to the licence, and these will also be attached to a licence should it be granted. The application was then referred to responsible authorities for comments along with a public consultation, which would end on the 2nd of December 2024. During that time, a notice was displayed at the premises advising where a full application can be viewed and how to make a representation. The notice was also circulated in a local newspaper. The only representations received from a responsible authority were for Gwent Police. Gwent Police objected under 3 of the 4 licensing objectives and stated the measures the applicant detailed in the operating schedule were not deemed adequate enough to promote the licensing objectives. The full list of representations issued by Gwent Police can be viewed as Appendix D, and in addition to this, the crime statistics in relation to the ward for Beaufort Square can be viewed as Appendix D2. Following the representations made by Gwent Police, a meeting was held on the 27th of November 2024 to discuss the application and the concerns raised. Following the meeting, the applicant advised the licensing authority they wish to make the following amendments to the application: bringing forward the closing time to 2 AM, 2 members of staff on the premises with 1 SIA trained, supplying cable-tied woven bags to encourage alcohol to be consumed at home, and ID verification with no sales of alcohol to persons who appear intoxicated. The amendments to the application were sent to Gwent Police, where the licensing authority requested they confirm if the representation remains. Gwent Police advised the representations remain in relation to their previous representation and the concerns they raised previously. Nothing has changed from there. Representations must be made under at least 1 of the 4 licensing objectives, which are prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance and protection of children from harm. As a relevant representation has been received in the Licensing Act, the Section 182 guidance advises the application must be considered by the Licensing and Regulatory Subcommittee. Further to this, Section 13.10 of the Section 182 guidance states it is important that the licensing authority gives a comprehensive reason for its decisions, and in anticipation of any appeals, and failure to do so could itself give rise to an appeal. Further guidance on the licensing objectives from the Section 182 guidance can be viewed as Appendix F. In regard to Monmouthshire County Council's Licensing Act policy, guidance is provided within it to applicants on the licensing objectives, and in the report, extracts of what is expected from an applicant can be viewed under the relevant licensing objective. So just to clarify, the applicant advised they wish to amend the application to sale of alcohol until 2 AM for Friday and Saturday. Thank you.
Right, thanks Mr Taylor, thanks for that report. I'll hand over now to responsible authorities. Obviously, Gwent Police have made an objection and obviously are now going to address the committee on this second application.
So, to begin, Gwent Police were in receipt of an application to vary the premises licence from the applicants, Mr Alpesh Kumar Patel and Mrs Sanjay Patel at Chepstow Store 4 to 5 Beaufort Square, Chepstow on the 4th of November 2024. Gwent Police officers, myself, PC 2138 Dakin, and my colleague to my left, PC 1689 Williams, attended Chepstow Library on the 27th of November to meet with the two representatives of the applicant, namely Mohammed Ismail and Michelle Frost, the premises manager. Ismail brought proposals to Gwent Police directly in company with Monmouthshire licensing officer Taylor Watts, who is also present today. In response to the mediation meeting with the applicant, several concerns were raised by Gwent Police in response to the applicant's proposals. A further follow-up email was sent by Ismail on the 20th of November following this meeting. In the email, the applicants proposed a 2 a.m. rather than 3 a.m. at Boo's Corner, and for Welsh Street stores, a 2:30 to 3 a.m. closure. Gwent Police's response to this is this would not alleviate the concerns raised by Gwent Police over the prevention of crime disorder, prevention of public nuisance and public safety due to the potential of intoxicated vulnerable persons purchasing alcohol at that time of the morning. Gwent Police have the belief that any purchases would be made for immediate consumption, otherwise customers would wait until the daytime to purchase alcohol. The applicant suggested one SIA staff or 2 members of staff inside the premises working. The applicant had to be reminded during the meeting that any SIA would be specifically there for that purpose and not be assigned for multiple other tasks or work. From our experience working with other premises, we and our own experiences as part of the job as well, people can be unpredictable, especially when there's alcohol involved. So that would need to be considered also. The applicant has suggested an anti-rip bag to be purchased, to put to any purchased alcohol into it, as he'd seen something similar in the London area. Although Gwent Police appreciate the applicant's enthusiasm over this, it will not prevent persons opening the bags in a public place, consuming as the applicant has suggested. As my colleague has mentioned during the prior hearing, even the possession of a simple key would be sufficient to get around having the anti-rip bag, in addition to other criminal means such as possession of prohibited weapons, which is also a potential encouragement for persons wishing to get around this. What the applicant has suggested. Ultimately, the alcohol would have to be sold at the premises and the premises directly contributing to this behaviour or criminality. The applicant's motivation for increasing the hours are purely financial, which is confirmed during the mediation meeting and also the follow-up letter after the meeting took place. We appreciate, obviously, the difficulties applicants are experiencing these days in businesses, especially in this day and age. However, the applicants have confirmed that footfall is not purely based on alcohol sales, and have argued by them selling alcohol they believe they would increase sales to the extended hours by approximately £250 per weekend. The applicant raised the benefit of purchasing items all in one transaction. However, it's noted that the equivalent premises to the area only the service station relies on the 24 hours as advertised. It was discussed during the meeting that rival premises, Tesco service station, they do have a 24-hour licence. This was issued in 2005. However, the current opening hours are 6 till midnight, so it wouldn't affect that part of it. Chepstow service station on Newport Road, supply of alcohol, that's also 24 hours. However, their opening hours maintain the 24 hours also. Doing that, though, there is a condition for a night hatch to be used between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. That was also issued in 2005. The Spa on St Lawrence Road and Chepstow, supply of alcohol between 7 and 11. The opening hours are 7 and 10. This was issued in 2013. Marks and Spencer's and Thomas Street, the supply of alcohol, 6 until midnight. The opening hours currently 8 until 8 p.m. This was issued in 2015. In regards to the Chepstow service station on Newport Road, it's on the main trunk road of residents in the nearby vicinity. Although not directly located next door, the garage is on the outskirts of Chepstow, and there's a steep decline or sharp incline depending on the direction of travel if travelling from the town centre. Majority of visiting persons would therefore attend via motor vehicle. Persons would have to walk some distance from the town centre and almost leave Chepstow to purchase alcohol from the store, therefore would not contribute to the concerns or problems raised in objection to the current premises, which is primarily located in the centre of the town. The applicant suggested supplying more staff, which would not support sufficiently the licensing objective of prevention of crime disorder, public safety or public nuisance at the time of night as suggested, where crime disorder and drunkenness is a significant problem. The premises is near late night pubs and clubs, which is an issue of concern. and will support concerns from Gwent Police of the premises contributing to drunkenness of members of the public and also drinking of alcohol in the public space, leading to antisocial behaviour and the increase of crime and disorder and public nuisance to local residents in the vicinity. The customer base, predominantly who would want to attend between the hours of 12 and 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. on the weekend. The public at this time of night is predominantly persons who are attending pubs or bars in the town, the majority of which are all already intoxicated, with several late-night venues located nearby, with a public space at the centre of time of the town also potentially providing a meeting point for this antisocial behaviour to occur and street drinking. This would undermine the Gwent licensing objectives of prevention of crime, disorder, public safety and also public nuisance. Gwent Police would have first-hand experience in who attends the town on the weekends due to the nature of our job and the crimes that take place during the late night and early hours of the weekends. As mentioned earlier, Gwent Police, here in the licensing of the east of the local policing area, we cover the Newport area as well as the Monmouthshire area. In the Newport, they've experienced issues with antisocial behaviour, predominantly in the town centre, which has resulted in a PSPO, Public Space Protection Orders, being utilised, obviously to adhere to the persons not adhering to the actual rules which are in place. Chepstow, for example, is a small built-up town. There's a high number of residents living in the vicinity. Majority of the persons in the town are 55 and over. This is based on ONS statistics for the area, breaking down the survey range from various age results. The extension of alcohol sales hours could lead to issues of public nuisance to the older residents who reside in the area. The off licence is located approximately 50 metres away from Chepstow's largest late-night venue, with several residential streets located predominantly a stone's throw away. The off-licence is also located nearby a premises which houses vulnerable persons, only a couple of 100 metres walk up the hill. Access to off-sales of alcohol at times applied for could contribute to an increase in crimes taking place or outside the premises that houses the vulnerable persons, and also, as mentioned, that meeting point in the centre of town. This could lead to an increase in the vulnerability of the persons that's becoming more susceptible to either being a victim or offender of crime. It's not uncommon for a vulnerable persons being housed to be suffering from addiction issues by way of alcohol or drug addictions. There's a major concern that ongoing later hours of sales of alcohol could lead to these vulnerable persons having access during the early hours. As mentioned, persons purchasing alcohol at that time in the morning are predominantly going to be looking to consume the alcohol there and then, rather than waiting just a couple of hours for other places or the regular hours to have opened. Statistics also show that St Mary's Ward in the area of Chepstow has a majority of call crimes. Violent and non-violent antisocial behaviour, including drug and disorderly, is referred to on an index per year. In the last year, 2024, statistics of crime reported in the ward area confirmed the highest number of calls with violence without injury of to the tune of 95 incidents, public order 60 incidents, violence with injury 51, criminal damage 39, drug offences 9. Considering that alcohol raises violent crimes by at least 49%, as detailed earlier, this demonstrates a concern by Gwent Police of the extension of trading hours to supply alcohol. This is obviously just discounting the reports of thefts from stores, which is a UK-wide problem. The concern is that customers of the premises is looking to target the extra hours between midnight onwards. Drunk persons or persons already under the influence of alcohol or other substances will be in the vicinity on the weekend, utilising pubs and bars and clubs. I appreciate the applicant has only applied for Friday and Saturday. However, those do tend to be the busiest times as well, and there'd be a concern for increased risk of selling alcohol to already intoxicated persons. The premises is an off-licence only. Certain conditions would be heavily expected in bars or clubs to open on their licence past midnight, such as door staff for public safety and to prevent crime and disorder from taking place at the premises. This would also have to be applied to other premises looking to operate within those hours. Of the 476 crimes in the last year in the St Mary's Ward, a nearby late night premises has more than doubled the reported crimes to the nearest premises. The crimes, as alluded to earlier, aren't related to the premises itself, but rather in the street or general area where the applicant's premises is based. This shows a significant problem in the vicinity of the applicant's premises and the prevention of crime, disorder and public safety. The later closing hours and the business period of the time of the premises, Gwent Police are concerned that the extension of the hours to supply of alcohol will contribute even more to crimes taking place, as the potential customers at that time of the night will be making use of the nighttime economy. By granting this licence, the committee would have to consider the wider implications of a late-night licence to the area, its knock-on effect for businesses and residents, in addition to the wider reputation of Chepstow itself being a small town on the English border rather than another city centre location. As mentioned, having the PSPO in the town centre wouldn't be a good look for the tourism industry for the town. In addition to this, the interest of fairness, we have to consider other local businesses and competitors. By granting this licence would potentially open the floodgates from further late-night venues, which would not be too dissimilar to areas such as Newport and Cardiff, or the 3 AM closure for the majority of places. As mentioned earlier, Newport has city centres now has a city centre stress area for that specific reason. Justice J, I'll go back to some case law. Within East Lydney District Council versus Abu Hanfif appeal. The prevention of crime disorder requires a prospective consideration once warranted in the public interest. Having regard to the twin considerations of prevention and deterrence, the licensing objectives are therefore prospective and preventive, and as such we submit this in order to ensure that the licensing objectives are upheld with specific regard to the prevention of crime disorder, that this application only be granted with the above conditions attached. Essentially, what we don't want to have to happen is for this licence to be granted, and obviously for the repercussions then for us to have to deal with it. Also, we are a preventive service, but we're also a reactive service as well. Ultimately, our position in this is for the prevention of crime disorder and the other 3 licensing objectives. And obviously, we believe by this application being granted, it could potentially open the other businesses open for that, and in addition to potentially providing a hotspot area in the centre of the town, in Beaufort Square in particular.
Thanks for that report. I don't believe there are any other anybody else is going to be present today, and there are no written objections for this application. So we go now then to the applicants, obviously with this here, and for them to address us in terms of this particular application. Thanks.
I'd just like to say we brought the time forward to 2 o'clock, so we'll be closed and finished our sales way before the local venues around us. The one is open till 3 AM, 3:30 AM, I believe. So we'll be closed and home way before then. So again, we're trying our best not to encourage any more like people staying out later and later, any more antisocial behaviour. We're trying to play ball and be flexible and, you know, do right by the community, as well as trying to make our business viable. And we're believing that if we're closed by 2 AM, we're not adding to the problem that's already there.
Okay, thanks. Are there any sort of questions that the 2 councillors with me today want to ask? Any issues that you want to raise? Dale?
Generally just the same question from the previous application. Having a SIA registered door member, does that make it viable?
Oh, sorry. We believe so, yes, we do. We have a lot of footfall. We have a lot of staff from the venues that are open that come to this premises. Also, a lot of the door staff from those premises also use our premises. And, yeah, we believe we'd more than cover the cost of that.
Okay, thanks. Jackie, no? No, I don't have any, any further questions. In terms of, are you happy now that you've given your representation? I'll invite now then the responsible authorities if they want to make any further comment.
Nothing further from us. You did mention, in fact, sorry, that some of the local door staff use your premises. But do you think they'd be wanting to purchase alcohol at that time in the morning?
Possibly, yes, because they've had a late shift, they want to go home, they want to unwind like a lot of people do. They obviously don't drink while they're on shift, and they like want to take a bottle of wine home, a pack of beers, along with some snacks and stuff, because they're not ready to switch off straight away, obviously, when they get home after the night they've probably had. Also, there's a lot more staff down by these premises that would use us as well. And like we said, not just necessarily alcohol sales, other sales too. And we would be looking to, like we've looked again at the figures, and we would be looking to make quite a considerable amount over the Friday and Saturday night if we had those extra 2 hours.
Just in response to that, obviously you mentioned about the door staff potentially. Obviously, we're aware of obviously the different places in Chepstow. Obviously, the place with the most door staff, as you said, they don't close till quite a bit afterwards. So obviously, they would have to, by virtue, come to you whilst on duty to purchase alcohol. So that kind of goes against what you're saying a little bit there. Obviously, our main concern with this would be obviously less of the staff in. It's more of the members of the public whilst intoxicated. So kind of that's where our argument is coming from.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but this is why we've brought it forward an hour, so that we'll be gone and closed before it's kicking out time from a lot of these venues, so then we won't be adding to that. Okay. Yeah, once again, we appreciate where you're coming from with that, but at the same time, we can only go by what statistics we've actually got as well. So.
Okay, thanks. Can you put your mic off? Thanks. I know Linda O'Gorman, one of the licensing officers, wants to come in briefly.
I just wanted to clarify, in your previous store, you open late for snacks, without the sale of alcohol. Do you do that in Chepstow stores on the Friday and Saturday, or do you shut it at 12 o'clock currently?
Currently shut at 12 o'clock, but if it is something like a race days or something, we open till like at 2 a.m.
For the festive. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. The applicants now, is there anything else you want to sort of sum up to sort of emphasise anything before we go and deliberate?
Just basically, we understand you've got a job to do. We understand the police have got a job to do. We don't want to make their jobs or lives any harder. We are just really trying to keep our businesses afloat, and we don't want to add to any stress that goes on. We're trying to be, like I said, we're trying to be as flexible as we can. And just have the footfall that is already there, not encourage more, definitely in this case, not encourage later antisocial behaviour, because, we'll be closed and gone home way before the other venues have kicked out.
Okay, thanks. And just to reiterate, just to be clear, it's application for Friday, Saturday, so that you open from 12 until 2 o'clock. You extend your hours in these premises, and obviously for the sale of alcohol and obviously other things, which is not the remit of this committee, but it's up until 2, and then you would be closed. Okay, thanks.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, I've got one point.
Can I just clarify, talking about sort of door staff, they would be supernumerary to the shop workers, yeah?
Extra.
Yeah.
Extra.
Yeah. Because take on board what the police officer has just said about, you can't have people sort of multitasking, really.
Yes, you're saying they would be extra to your normal staff who would be selling things, taking money, etc., and dealing with the public. You would have an SIA dedicated to security. Yes,
Yeah, it's additional one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be additional. Okay. Thanks. I don't think there's anything else. The same procedure now. We go to another room and then we'll come back and make a decision after deliberating, etc. So thanks for your time. We'll stop there. Thanks. Okay, we'll reconvene now. We've obviously made our deliberations. I'm afraid we cannot accept this application. We decided that we have to deny this application. That is a unanimous decision. And obviously we've looked at the evidence and obviously listened to the applicant's case and obviously to the responsible authority, to Gwent Police. But I'm afraid that was, again, a unanimous decision. I hand over now to Julian Saunders, County Solicitor, to outline the reasons why we decided.
Thank you. The committee balanced the financial reasons given by the applicant against the evidence given by Gwent Police supporting their objection to the application. The committee were of the view that the evidence given by the police at selling alcohol from the premises until 2 AM would increase public nuisance, antisocial behaviour and criminality in Chepstow. The committee were sympathetic towards the financial position of the applicants. The committee noted that the premises would close at 2 AM, which is before the closure time of one of the nearby nightclubs in Chepstow, but this alone was not sufficient to allow the application. The committee noted the concerns regarding the potential impact on the vulnerably housed in Chepstow and the impact on the general residents of Chepstow, and the committee referred to the crime statistics provided by Gwent Police. The committee were of the view that allowing the application was likely to increase antisocial behaviour and criminality in Chepstow, and the priority was to safeguard the public. Allowing the application would provide those with addiction issues with an increased opportunity to purchase alcohol. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Saunders. Obviously, that is the decision, and obviously we've given the reasons. You obviously have the right appeal. If you wish, to Magistrates Court, you can obviously appeal this decision. But obviously we have given reasons why we made that decision. We didn't certainly make it likely. It's and we appreciate the difficulties that you have in terms of trading. But I declare the meeting closed now then. Unless there are any other issue, anything else? No? Okay, thank you very much, and thanks very much for attending today. Thank you very much.